slept through the night. It's a new day. And so we fight on.
All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Gnostic Church Academy of Lord Jesus Christ. It's me, it's your old Uncle Marty. Dave posted Pink Floyd's Animals this morning, so it got me in the mood. So anyway, we do service every Sunday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You're watching the Gnostic Church and Academy of Lord Jesus Christ, Uncle Marty. We got a good one for you today. It's going to be long. It is what it is, and we've got a lot to cover. So let's launch into it. We really appreciate everybody that shows up here on Sunday morning. So let's first do a prayer, written by yours truly. These hands you've given to me, good Lord, are to work, to toil, and pray. These feet you've given to me, good Lord, shall walk thy most holy way. This mouth you've given to me, good Lord, shall speak boldly of your love. This body you've given to me, good Lord, is fit for the perch of a dove. This mind you've given to me, good Lord, shall dream this world anew. And this heart you've given to me, good Lord, I'll give it right back to you. I receive with thanks and joy and praise the gifts you've sent to me, and every moment I stay blessed shall be my gratuity. All right. Welcome, everybody. We really appreciate you showing up today. We're going to do, this is Sunday service number 150, Redreaming the Nightmare. And the future is not yet written. We're talking about a lot of stuff today. We're going to talk about some crazy tech. We're going to talk about the video that Dave and I just did. We're going to talk about how the world is dreamed, abracadabra, how the world is made of magic, and how we got to do magic in order to redream our world, if you will. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. It's going to be long. It is what it is. So let's get into it. First part of this is we're going to talk about faking the sun and the conversation that Dave and I had and TFE and that sort of stuff. And then the second part of this live stream, this fine sermon, will be talking about how we redream our world. Okay? So, first and foremost, let's get this out of the way. This church, on the job safety begins here. This church has gone exactly one sermon since the last curse word was uttered. So, we're going to give it a shot. I can't promise anything. But I do have a whole list of new curse words here. Actually, instead of the F-bombs and the S, look, I didn't want this, okay? You guys wanted this. This is all on you, okay? I didn't want anything to do with this, but you created this. You made the bed, now you sleep in it. So, blazing barnacles, mother fudge knuckles, silly goose pants liquor, holy jumpin' Jaron Duffy, which we'll get to today, scruffy looking nerf herder, shut the front door, crickety crickets, a bunch of ballyhoo and bollocks, gee willikers, oh corn nuts, this is my favorite, oh Vedas jar of curses, that's one of my favorites, great Scott, frackin' fudges, sufferin' silly pants, cheese and crackers, shiitake shroomsicles, holy shrimp scampi, poo on a stick, dag nabbit, son of a monkey, shivering timbers, son of a biscuit, and fiddlesticks. That's what you guys get, okay? No more F-bombs from Marty, but this is what you guys get in return. So, once again. So, by the way, this is called foul language, and it's called good bird language. So I noticed that people were saying, Marty, you got to cut it with your foul language, and they were spelling foul incorrectly. So I just want to clarify because I'm a teacher. Foul, F-O-U-L, is offensive to the senses, especially through having a disgusting smell or taste of bad, unpleasantly, that sort of thing. And then foul, F-O-W-L, is birds. Okay, so this is foul language now. Okay.
Says you need to add poo-poo caca.
And poo-poo caca, of course. That's one that's already in the vernacular. So okay. All right, enough of the fun. All right, let's start the goofing around. Okay, first part of this. So if you haven't watched the video that Dave and I just posted this week, I was supposed to get back into the book of John, but I just couldn't because my head was in this space. So I figured let's just keep going with this and discuss this more because, this it's kind of doing the rounds right now. This video is. It was shared by Mark Sargent and of course Dave Weiss posted and stuff like that. And it was basically a video about us talking about how we believe that there is a very, 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 very strong possibility, and not only that, at this point, I'm not totally convinced. I'd be more than happy if this turned out to be wrong or something. Like, great, okay, well, we have to explore this avenue. As thorough investigators, we have to. Once we started exploring this avenue, it was like, damn, that makes a lot of sense. And what we're going to show today is basically talk a little bit about this and then show some of the tech that we really didn't get into in the conversation that Dave and I had. So Dave is in my phone as David Shillweiss, Flat Earth Rabbi. That's so when he calls, I'm like, oh, look, it's the shill calling. So that's how Dave is in my phone now because I'm an adult. So we're going to talk about TFE, the final experiment. It was with this guy, Will Duffy. Once again, if you're not familiar with what we're talking about here, you really need to, familiarize yourself with this, watch the video, that sort of stuff. But basically, we're going to talk about the final experiment. And one of the things that happened with this final experiment that I think is just a blessing, is really what it is that a lot of these people that are extremely terrible researchers, and they have what I think Kingdom of Context call it the spirit of accusation, that they jump to conclusions, they're not doing good research, they're accusing people of crimes without thorough evidence to do so, they're running around calling people shills. All of these people through this TFE, all of those terrible, immoral, absolutely, just bottom of the barrel flat earth people that have zero integrity. All the light got shown on them. And then it's a beautiful thing. I'm like, great, TFE was wonderful. It was actually a really wonderful thing because all of these scumbags that have just been in the corners, just stinking up the place, all got to shine their light, and we got to all see them. Oh, so you're the one with no integrity. You're the one with no dignity. You're the one that's a terrible researcher. You're the one that has the spirit of accusation. You're the one that's immoral. Great, shine your light. We want to see it. It's beautiful. So what it was is basically, as I always said, flat Earth is a litmus test, and what happened is this is a litmus test for people's morality. And what you got to see is there's a bunch of these people, globies and flatties, that are pretty damn immoral. That they run to conclusions, they want to blame guilt on people without thorough evidence, and we got to see that. I think it's great. Seriously. All those people that are like, because it throws at me and stuff like that. It's like, Marty's a shill. If you're using the word shill, you've just been exposed because you're saying nothing. Shill means nothing. If you're going to call somebody a shill without providing heap loads of evidence as to why they are immoral or a fraud or whatever it is, then guess what you're doing? You're raising your hand and saying, I'm a child. I'm a child of the heart. I'm a child of the mind. I'm a child of my intellect. I'm a toddler. That's what we get to see. And I think it's beautiful. I really do. This is a blessing. So all you people, shill alert, you're exposing yourself, and I think it's amazing. Great. So we get to see all of these people like that just get to shine. And it's like, oh, this is flat. No, we have nothing to do with these piles of trash. That's what they are. I say that out of love because I don't want you to continue down your road, but that's what you are. The King Nico guy, he's a Freemason slayer. I bet King Nico hasn't slayed one Freemason. I'm calling the Better Business Bureau because this is false advertisement. If I called myself Marty in Leeds, Negro Slayer, I would assume that if you came to my house, you would see a bunch of dead Negroes. But you don't see a bunch of dead Negroes because I'm not a Negro Slayer. So this sort of stuff is comical, it's laughable, it shows what kind of absolute clowns these people are, and this thing exposed like the bright fake sun down there, exposed it all, and I'm like, heck yeah, beautiful, great. You get to see these sort of this trash, scumbags, bottom of the barrel, rot gut people that have no morality whatsoever. From this, I had a little back and forth with Witsit. We didn't talk, but it was just Telegram messages. And as this whole thing was going on, as you know, I just sat back and say, well, let's give it some room. Let's give it some time. Let's be patient. See what happens with this whole thing. Let's let some more information come out. And in doing so, what happened was, well, we found out that as far as I'm concerned, Jared and Austin absolutely are legitimate. They're being honest. They absolutely went. All of this other stuff. And then you saw all these people flip out. Great. So you get to see, like, there's this guy Z here that just absolutely, and I watched this whole thing, just drilling Austin, treating him like he was a criminal, being completely condescending, raising his hands up, stuff like that. I'm like, hey, Z, any of you people that are accusing these guys, just rushing out and accusing them of wrongdoing, do you know, I'll just say this, growing up in Wisconsin, growing up in bars and stuff like that, if this scumbag like that came over with the spirit of accusation, being condescending, raising his hands up and literally claiming people are guilty of things, basically being like a lawyer, if you will. If you were in a bar in Wisconsin, do you know what would happen to you, bro? You came up to somebody at a bar stool and started doing your condescending, talking down thing. You would get grabbed by the shirt collar and thrown up against a wall. You'd be out of that bar stool in 2 seconds, bro. And that's what we got to see a bunch of people do. A bunch of keyboard warriors that in the real life, they wouldn't be able to hack any of it. And we get to shine a light on all of it. Beautiful. We get to see who the scumbags are. It's great. So, what do we say when we say that Antarctica, right? What happened down there? Everybody knew that it stunk to high hell. I don't know anybody, any reasonable researcher that didn't hear Will Duffy's name originally and was like, I don't trust that. Dave Weiss said it right away. He's just like, no, I don't trust you. And then he didn't trust him because he had the foresight to be like, I don't know what scam this is. I don't know what fraud it is, but it stinks to high hell and it's got fraud written all over it. He realized it right away and said, I'm not participating. I saw it right away. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm giving that no fuel. I'm giving it no fire. I'm not paying any attention to it because I knew it was a fraud. What was the fraud? I didn't know at the time, but I knew that how it was set up, how it was presented, the premise, the money behind it, the Will Duffy character, everybody. It's just stunk to high hell, obviously. But we all knew it was a fraud, but all of these people rushed out and immediately claimed guilt to a bunch of people without thorough evidence to do so. Dave and I, as far as we just sat back, we're like, well, let's just let this thing roll out, right? Let's see what happens. All of these people rushed to accuse Jared and Austin and all this other stuff. Without sufficient evidence, Dave backed it up, be like, no, that's not Mountain Gate, that's not a thing, Footprint Gate and Vape Gate and all of this other stuff. You guys look like idiots. Then what happens? We wait. We say, hey, this is obviously a fraud. Just as I said, let's be patient. Just as I said, guys, please, let's let some information roll in. Let's look at all the footage. Let's hear interviews. Let's get it. And then guess what? We found, well, we knew it was a fraud. So what is the fraud? Well, what we're here to say and what Dave basically put into my ear, and as soon as he did, I was like, boom, 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 lights just started going off. Like, whoa, that actually makes a lot of sense. And we're going to go over the tech. We're going to go over a bunch of stuff today that we didn't cover there. So I think he's right. And if it turns out there is a reasonable explanation for a 24-hour sun, and it's not a fake sun, and it's actually a legitimate, natural thing, we figured it out. Great. It turns out that all of this is wrong. Wonderful. Let's all celebrate, as opposed to being like, well, you said this and now you're a shill. That is childish, toddler fiddlesticks, okay? That's what it is. Now, what happened, as far as we can tell? Maybe this will turn out to be wrong, but as far as I can tell, what Jaron and Austin and basically the entire world underwent a big old magic trick. It's a prank. It's what these people do. They're wizards, just like I've been saying literally since I've been on the line. They're dark wizards. They're dark magicians. They do this, and everybody's like, whoa, wow, look, there's a sun. Must be, this is what they do. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. That's what we're dealing with as far as we can tell. Some extremely advanced technology that is not theorized. It's not like, oh, I believe this to be true. We can prove that this technology exists. And not only that, you can invest in it. So what happened down there? As far as I can tell, maybe this will turn out to be wrong, but this needs to be, examined. I think those guys were part of a, if you will, lack of a better term, a giant prank. Of course, they're pranking us, if you will, if we're going to use that terminology. They're pranking all of us about our cosmology. This is just yet another one of their little magic tricks, their dark wizard spells, if you will. And while this community is all hammering these guys, and I'm not here to defend Jaron at all, we'll talk about that in just a second. I'm not here to defend anybody except the truth. So these guys became targets. Basically, this machine that is lying to us about our cosmology that we know is filled with absolute sick, satanic, corrupt people, they basically took their aim at normies, not normies, you know what I mean? Like just average, everyday YouTubers. Now, we know this goes on, and this has been going on a while. So this is what happens. This is, as far as I can tell, this is what happened. These people were legitimately drawn into a trip. They actually went, all of the footage is real, and we're saying, guess what, though? They faked the sun. And that's not coping. That's not saying, oh, you're just trying to make an excuse. I don't, somebody said it was like, oh, Dave must be working with the absolute jackwagon. Absolutely immoral piece of human excrescence. It's like, oh, Dave must be working with Marty now. They must have no, Dave doesn't pay me to promote his app. And not once. I mean, he's donated to the church. Not once. Barely even talked to Dave, okay? So it just goes to show they're projecting, they're creating all these things in their head, and they just want to, that's what's going on. This is a psychological operation. They had pawns, and it's working beautifully. That's what Dave, as far as I can say, that's what, as far as I can tell, that's what Dave and I are saying. Dave this is why he said this trip, now it wasn't just for Dave, but it was absolutely geared to make him a pawn in this. And he was smart enough to say, no, this stinks to high hell. I'm not going to participate in it. He was right. He was right. These people, these elite six satanic people, are coming after you, and they're gonna drag regular, just average, everyday people that are just trying to figure this thing out into their little magic show. And in doing so, they're going to try to destroy their lives, their credibilities, their minds. Jaron, as far as I can tell, maybe he was sold out. I don't know. But as far as I can tell, out of the international pressure and everybody, getting on his back and all of it, everybody hanging on every single word, him being the butt of an international joke, it's called psychological trauma. This is what these people do. And as far as I can tell, that's what's happening to Jaron right now. He's suffering from some severe trauma. Maybe he's a shill. It's like maybe he's sold out, if you will. Maybe. But as far as I can tell, and I think Dave agrees too, it's just his ego. It's what it is. As far as I can tell, Jaron from this whole thing got further from God and Austin got closer. We already know that this happens. Like, whatever you think about Owen Benjamin, he's been attacked. They've used the machine to try to destroy his life, for him simply being like, yeah, there's a problem with the Jays and people should grow food and have babies. The machine, this elite, corrupt, satanic machine is coming after us, targeting individuals, okay? We already know this happens, by the way. But now it's, basically coming to our door, right? This is what I think exactly happened to Jaron and Austin. These guys here, Raging Dissident, that's Blair Cottrell up at the top there. I forget what his name is there. That's Red Ice, Henrik at Red Ice. All of these guys, they basically are fighting for, what we would consider like, the Western civilization, white people, if you will, right? And all of these people, the machine has attacked them. The entire country of Canada blamed him. On the lower left there, Raging Dissident, and a fictional goat that does cocaine on the trucker convoy. We already know that the entire government blamed that guy right there, and all he did was what? Stayed in truth, stayed in integrity, said, nope, I'm not listening to all of this, and he's coming out clean on the other side. He's like Andy Dufresne right now. What it shows is that if you stand up to this and you hold your line and you stay with God, their magic tricks are null and void. They've got no power. Every single one of the Blair Cottrell guy up there, Australian, BBC just did, and I forget what this guy's name is. I can't remember his name, but BBC just did an attack piece. These are just like YouTubers. And they did an attack piece. They used the machine just to destroy any of this. This is the exact same thing that has happened to every single one of those guys, happened to these guys. And happened to these guys. Meanwhile, while the community, instead of actually recognizing who the actual bad guys are, you turned your targets to these guys. And I'm not here to defend Jaron because I think he's being an absolute, he's being a suffering silly pants, okay? And I think that's immoral and wrong. Now, Jaronism, as far as I could tell, is I'm not going to hang on this a lot, but he's, I don't even know what to say about it. He's in some psychological turmoil right now. Everybody's hanging on his word. He's basically, as far as I could tell, back to the globe and that sort of stuff. So people are immediately like, he's paid off. Maybe. But I know this, that once again, if I was in his shoes, just as I said, and I saw all of these people in this community turn and target me, would be like, hey, am I really the person you should be targeting? Or maybe it's, I don't know, like Will Duffy and Anthony Powell and NASA and everybody that controls Antarctica. So, by the way, Jaron, like, we called him being completely a buffoon when it comes to these really esoteric, magical topics, long before I had ever even heard of TFE. We talked about this Jaron posting a bunch of losers on his Instagram account. Well, and as we said, we all know who the loser is. You didn't take any time to find out what any of this stuff means. You never read any of the books. You never inquired. You immediately jumped to a conclusion. You called them satanic. You spent years being like, well, look at, these guys are all losers. Now it gets turned on you, and what do we say? Well, you kind of deserved it. You made your bed. You're going to lie in it now. And every single one of these truthers do it, and this is why I got no problem calling it out. Those guys right there, I would have happily, especially after this TFE thing, I would happily have dinner with any of those guys as opposed to any of these flat earthers that are acting like absolute children. Don't care. Don't care. Your little BBs to this adamantium armor mean nothing. You get it? Good. So, Jaron we already was like, no, you have blamed innocent people for crimes against humanity, and that's on your shoulders. So now we call, and I'm going to make fun of him a little bit. I actually don't have any ill will towards any of these people, even Will Duffy. I don't. I think he's a scammer. I'm pretty convinced he's a scam artist and a fraud, but guess what? I'm a Christian. We're supposed to love our enemy. That doesn't mean I don't want justice served. That doesn't mean I don't want to get to the bottom of this. That doesn't mean I put my trust in this guy at all. But I don't want any ill will or harm to happen to any of these guys. But what's happening right now is just like Jaron said, oh, never go full RV. Well, Jaron, we're going to say never go full Jaron Duffy. Because that's what you're doing right now. Ignoring all of the flat earth proofs, jumping on the globe and making you look entirely suspect and throwing the last 10 years of being like, they're liars out the window. You're either paid or you're undergoing some severe psychological trauma. Either way, doesn't really matter to me because before this thing happened, I already knew who you were. I knew the kind of quality of heart that you had, the ability to do research. We already knew. It's god-awful. This is why, let's not get into that. So in Masonry, they have a thing that when it's a false Mason, a person that's a fraud, that sort of stuff, right? We call him a Cowan, so we're going to call him a Jaron Duffy moving forward. So in other words, a Cowan is one who pretends to be a Mason because he works in stone, but he's not one. Right? So this is what we said. A candidate is the Jaron Duffy. Here we see a flock of good birds clearing out the nest of undesirables. The good birds have struck the Jaron Duffy on the forehead with the gavel as he falls into the blanket. The Jaron Duffy is then taken away out of the holy temple where he is no longer welcome. I'm making a joke out of this because what I'm showing is that all of those flat earthers, all of those people, Jaron Campanella, every single one of you that have been blaming people for crimes, you are now eating everything that you doled out. That's all I'm saying. So, let's talk about the flat earth and the sun in Antarctica and faking the sun. Dean Odell, by the way, so one of the things that Jaron posted was Dean Odell. He's basically saying, the sun, he blames Satan. It was Satan down there. Now, but I don't know why anyone would give... The earth could be a peanut, okay? Forget about the earth being flat or a ball or anything like that. Let's just say the earth is a peanut, okay? And we're all on peanut earth right now. Do you know what would still happen on peanut earth? Dean Odell would be a giant moron. A deluded absolute fool. Okay? So anybody who's like, well, Dean, who cares what Dean... And by the way, Dean Odell, I would say, is actually closer than anybody when it comes to assessing the situation. It's kind of a joke. But he's like, I blame Satan. Yeah, I actually would agree with that. Yes, the people that are lying to us about our cosmology are satanic. Yeah. What went on down there, that magic show, that little prank, as far as we can tell, was absolutely satanic. Yes. Yeah. Now, that said, Dean gets pretty much everything else wrong. And he's a horrible, horrible human being. But we knew that long before TFE. It's not like we needed TFE to figure that one out. Okay? So he's saying basically it's the Antichrist, right? That was Satan that did that. Well, When Dave brought this up to me and I sat with it for a few days and my mind just went into overdrive. That's all I was thinking about. That was all I was doing. I was looking at every aspect. I was just going through all the check marks. Boom, 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 boom. What about the sun? What about this? What about the cold? Blah, blah, blah. Just going through all the check marks. And the one thing that bothered me the most out of all of this, guys, the one thing that bothered me the most out of all of this was this. And it was symbolic and esoteric and religious and spiritual in nature, but it's the one thing that really, really bothered me. Knowing that we teach that Christ, at least one of his, in one symbolic representation, as we always say, is a representation of the sun in our sky. Now, if what we're purporting is true, that they are actually creating an artificial or a fake sun down there, what would that be? spiritually, religiously, what would that sun, or those multiple suns, as we'll talk about, what would that sun be? It would be a fake sun. It would be a false sun. It would be a false prophet. It would almost be a anti. If Christ is the sun symbolically, then what is that right there? See what I'm saying? Let's just say that was the one thing that really, really bothered me. I was like, if they are faking the sun, and what we're going to say is that we can prove that they have the technology to do that. Anybody that says that they don't have the technology to do that, you might as well get your butt out of here right now, because you have no ability to discern or think. And we'll show you that. This is what bothered me the most out of the whole thing. Not the trick, not Jaron and Austin, not the TFE or the community or anything like that. If they are faking the sun, let's just say this. I'm speaking symbolically anyway. The Antichrist is here. An anti-sun is here. Now, we already know that this stuff is astrological. That false sun, this idea of a false sun is already, or a false cross, or false prophet, that sort of thing, is already in the sky. In the southern celestial hemisphere, and it is a sphere because it's a sphere of stars as far as we understand, there's a cross there that you can see, the Southern Cross, which rises right when Jesus is born. And then you have a false cross that's it's in the Argo Navis right there. So if you're looking to the south, right, and you can see the Southern Cross, and it's right around the Christmas time, if you will, right? And you can actually there's the cross. Well, actually, that's a false cross. That's the false prophet. There's the real prophet. There's the Southern Cross. There's the one. We already know this idea is actually even already crafted into the stars. And what we're saying is that, as far as I can tell, they're making that myth real. Okay? Now, for anybody that says, and we'll get into the tech here, that they don't have the tech to do it, this is the little video that I played in that video with Dave and I.
They were there. Their breath wasn't, vape gate. They were there. They were there. They filmed. The film is real, but what did they film?
Okay, so what we're about to talk about is that, yes, we think that they faked the sun down there. And actually, in my opinion, they've probably been doing this, or at least set up to do this, since the 60s. First and foremost, when people say, well, they couldn't fake the sun. So let's take the Globies perspective on this. What do Globies say that the modern science can do? They can drive rovers around on Mars. They can send a car out into space, Elon, SpaceX. They can build the ISS going 17,500 miles an hour. They can reconnect satellites after 42 years of being dormant. We can go hippity-hoppity on the moon in the 1960s. We can create nuclear power, nuclear bombs, CERN particle accelerators that can recreate the conditions before the Big Bang. We have phones in our pockets that allow us to speak to people in Indochina and look up anything instantly. We can project holographically, literally into thin air. You can do all that sort of stuff, but you're going to claim that we can't fake the sun or the moon? But beyond that, now flurfers, all of us stupid flurfers that think we couldn't fake the sun and the moon, but they can manipulate the weather with chemtrails. They can elaborately build space programs to lie about where we live. They could torch entire cities like Lahaina and LA with, they could do all the false flags like the Boston one and the LA one or Las Vegas one, where they could do all that. They can destroy and burn the old world and lie about history, but they can't fake the sun and the moon. So I think the point is made. So people that come along, we've had comments like this from both sides. They couldn't do that. And when I hear that, Jennifer and I just laugh. We just... Do you know how absolutely deluded you have to be to live in 2025 and say that they don't have the tech to put a bright spot in the sky in a hologram? Immediately, as soon as Dave brought this up, it took me about maybe 15 minutes to be like, well, do they have the tech? And then boom, my mind just started going. I'm like, they've been showing us the tech for 20 years. We'll get into it. Okay. So before we talk about Earth, let's just for the sake of this, let's just have some fun here, guys, right? Little mental experiment, right? Hypothetical, if you will. Flat Earthers, we're all back on the globe. We've followed Jaron's lead and we're going back on the globe. Not really. I'm a globie for the rest of this conversation, and it's going to last like a minute. I'm a globie. back on the globe. What they saw was the real sun down in Antarctica. Okay, great. So now that we've seen the sun down in Antarctica and we are all on a globe, why is the sun squishing? We're on a globe, we're spinning 1,037.5 miles an hour. Sun is 93 million miles away. We're granting you all of that. Now, explain to me why the sun is squishing. On the left, you have Anthony Powell's 24-hour shot, 360 of which, well, here, I'll play this again, 24-hour shot, 360. And as you can see, the one on the right is in Antarctica, the one on the left is Antarctica. This is Anthony Powell about 4 years ago, I think, put this video out, no one heard of it. Let me ask you, Globies, Simon Dan, Dave McKeegan, MC Toon, we're going to grant everything. We're back on, let's watch again, back on a ball. Now, explain to me why the sun is squishing. Why? You know why I'm asking this is because, as far as I can tell, once again, maybe there's an explanation for this. Maybe it's a camera thing, something like that. But as we know, and a bunch of people have pointed out, it doesn't happen in the north. Also notice, if you notice especially like how gold this sun is compared to the white one, I don't see a squishing sun. I see a ball. It looks like a disc ball, maybe? I don't know. Very golden, almost looks like it's sort of going far away and coming back like it's making circles over the earth. So that looks a lot different than this. That's a very white sun, and both suns doing the squishy pants. I mean, gee willikers, oh corn nuts, Veda's jar of curses, what's going on, people? Serious scientific inquiry. Okay, so there's that. Now, so people had asked, and I caught this comment. It was from good boys over at Alpha Vedic there, one of the Alpha Vedic guys. He asked, AV Warrior asked, I really appreciate this, Dave, but I'm still scratching my head as how a localized beam light source could illuminate the entire plane. Well, it doesn't, by the way, but like the natural sun does. Well, what we're going to say, and what I'm saying is that it's not like an artificial sun, like it's just a hologram and that, no. What we're saying is that there, as far as I can tell, probably in multiple stations, and we'll get to it, that they're recreating a literal sun that creates literal UV rays, that the hologram that is put into the sun is literally exactly the video that you would see of the sun. And once again, and we'll talk about the tech here moving on. It's like, hey, well, how does, once again, so basically, they're basically just asking, hey, there's an immense radiated projection of light required to light up the terrain for as far as the eye can see. No spotlight or beam tech can do that as far as we know, or I know. Well, actually, that's not true. That's not true at all, is what we'll say here, is that as far as, well, here, first off, let's talk about this. So basically, you're down in Antarctica, south. It's old programming. It's residue, guys. Just calm down when I say down. Okay, good Lord. So when you're in south in Antarctica and the sun's doing this, as far as we understand, right? Once again, it's still metaphysical. It's still projected. We can't even pinpoint and triangulate where that thing is. But in general, we can see that it does essentially this over the flat Earth. So basically, when it comes over here and into Antarctica, it's lighting up the sky. As it's going away, it's lighting up the sky. This is something that flat Earthers were saying it would do anyway. I think they call it the caustic coffee cup effect or something like that. But basically, you put a light, this is a dome, flat land, you put a light there, and depending on where the light is, it can actually wrap around the dome, creating light as it sort of, carries around the dome sort of thing. So people are saying that this is what happens. So if you have that, and then all of a sudden you create a false sun, that artificial sun, that's doing exactly what the sun would do, lights up the gases in the air. It's a UV light. You mean to tell me that you can have UV at your home? You ever grow microgreens or grow weed? That sort of stuff. So basically what you have is in the atmosphere, what do you have? You have a bunch of different gases, mainly nitrogen and a bunch of like trace gases, that sort of stuff, all of which, as far as we could tell, when struck with a UV light, turn blue. That's exactly what it does. Neon, nitrogen, as far as we know, okay? So when they put in there it is, there's hydrogen, helium, argon, nitrogen, all of them, they all turn blue. The skies are coming from the other gases, that sort of stuff, right? So when you say, hey, well, how would they recreate that? Literally just with a UV ray. And the UV ray would do exactly what UV rays do. So once again, do they have the technology? Do they have the technology, and we'll show it, do they have the technology of lasers? Yes. Do they have the technology to create UV lights? Yes. Do they have the technology of holograms? Yes. Do you know how old that technology is, guys? This is when Dave brought this up to me. That was one of the, it took about 15 minutes, something like that. I was like, do they have the tech to do this? And immediately, I'm like, don't be so stupid. Of course they do. They're showing it to us. We'll get into it. So when we're saying basically when they signed the Antarctic Treaty in 1959, do you know what else was going on in 1959? Of course, we talked about a deep freeze, the first Antarctic station down there in 60s or whatever it was, right? You had Operation Fishbowl where they were trying to literally, as far as we could tell, blow up the frickin' dome, whatever, right? You had all of these nations coming together to do what? Well, there's always this great mystery of what's going on in Antarctica. It's like there's UFOs and the Nazis are down there. No, dude. You know what the big reveal of Antarctica is? They had to shore it up to continue to fake the cosmology of which we already know they're doing. This would be, once again, just another aspect of it. And once again, the idea that they don't have the technology to do it is absurd. As far as we know, there's only like a couple main bases in Antarctica. And once again, when we show you this tech, the idea that they couldn't have multiple ones of these in different stations in Antarctica, of course, this isn't what Antarctica looks like, but you know what I mean. The idea that they couldn't do that, anybody that says that, you're just completely out of your league. You have no idea what you're talking about. Just so you know, you can invest in the technology that we're talking about they're using. That's what's so funny. So now we're going to talk about some of the holography, talk about the lasers, we're going to talk about plasma, we're going to talk about all of these things, technology that they absolutely show you that they have right now, and that what we're saying is that they're using this. One of the guys, I'll read this, it's from a Microsoft sort of insider, and he sent this over, and he basically, I'll read it in just a second here, but basically what he was talking about is some of this tech, and I'll show you right now. And this is laser plasma holography, and this, guys, is, I don't know how else to say it, but scary as hell.
Number 4, the Ariel Burton Laser Plasma Holograph. Burton Inc. is located in Japan, and they are proud innovators who managed to succeed in creating true 3D display using plasma technology. This creates amazing opportunities for further creations because the light can be viewed without the need to bounce off of any surface and use mirrors or glass. Specifically, the technology they use is a 1 kilowatt infrared laser, which is focused on direct points in the air by a 3D scanner. This causes the molecules in the air to be ionized and thus create a plasma. Now, we can't imagine all the possibilities that this opens, but we're sure they are going to be more than impressive.
So this is just, I'll show you a lot more. That's just some of the tech that they're showing you. Anybody, any reasonable researcher, doesn't matter if you're an investment banker or anything like that, or you work for the Department of Defense, or you're just a YouTube researcher, you know. I don't need to convince you of this at all. You know that the tech that they have, that they just roll out, is usually at least 25 to 40 years already in R&D, research and development. They've already, developed this at a high rate, and then they just roll it out. They do this with tech all the time. So when they show you, holographic, that sort of stuff, tech like that, that's Atari. That's peanuts. It's Commodore 64 stuff. That's what it is. It's Pong, compared to the virtual reality stuff that they already have. Pretty much anybody I know that I've ever spoke to when it comes to tech understands that to be true. That's all we're saying. So here's the other one. So this is what the Microsoft insider said. He said, the holograms the general public sees are far behind what is actually in use. Let me say that again. The holograms the general public sees are far behind what is actually in use. I know this because of 2 times I was exposed to that advanced holographic technology while I was employed at Microsoft. While I was there, feeling at the pinnacle of technology with my HoloLens, which is this technology that he's talking about, we won't get into that, one of the MIT professors that oversaw the kids grabbed me by the arm and said, "Come here, person. You have to see this." He took me downstairs to the basement area and into one of the labs. There are a couple of engineers in there eating lunch. They ignored us. He took me over to the table, and it looked like there were 2 small robot toys on the table, maybe 4 to 5 inches. He did something on a laptop, and the robot toy got up, stood up, walked over to the other robot, and one kicked the other. I thought at first I was viewing miniature robotics. It was completely realistic looking. He told me, no, they were holograms. Though I could not look through it, Though it was not transparent and it was pretty well lit in that lab, I went right up and bent down to look closely at it. There was no glass or anything between me and the robots. You don't need a screen. You don't need a reflective surface. All of this tech, once again, you can invest in. I went right up and bent down to look closely at it. There was no glass or anything between me and the robots, and they battled each other. It was absolutely incredible. The demo I saw was very briefly, maybe only 1 minute, and then he rushed me out of that lab. I speculated perhaps the head researcher was at lunch when he snuck me in, and maybe I wasn't supposed to see that. I don't know. My hotel was within walking distance, and I will never forget how excited I was walking back to my hotel that night. I called my mother and my friends in whispered tones, told them what I had just witnessed. Totally nerded out by that. Still got excited when I remember that. I thought HoloLens was cool. This just blew my mind. The U.S. military is making lasers that create voices out of thin air. Within 3 years, the Pentagon's non-lethal, I want to say this was like 2015, this article. Don't quote me. Don't quote me. I'm sorry. Within 3 years, the Pentagon's non-lethal weapons lab hopes to have a direct energy weapon that can produce an effect like a haunted walkie-talkie or biblical burning bush. What they're saying is they already have it. It's already way advanced. It's probably been advanced for 20, 30, 40 years, and now they're letting you know. That's what this is. This is called plasma holography, and this is scary as sin.
Plasma, sometimes called the fourth state of matter. It was first described by Irving Langmuir in the 1920s, and that gave the foundation for the understanding of ionized gas, which became crucial later on with laser-induced plasmas. In the 70s even, scientists discovered that laser pulses could create localized plasmas when focused on a material, and later in midair. We are not talking about some of the commonly known holographic techniques, such as HoloLens from Microsoft, which uses a wearable headset and projects a hologram that's visible only to the wearer of the headset. But that hologram can be fixed in space, set on a table, interacted with. Then there's other holograms that rely on glass, either curved glass or straight panes of glass. And then there's the very common fan hologram that seems to project something that looks 3D into space by a quickly spinning fan in the background. No, we're not talking about any of these techniques. We're talking about something very different. Laser-induced plasma. So this is where you have this ultra-short, high-intensity beam that ionizes air molecules, creating a plasma ball. It can be moved around or adjusted with the laser beam. It can even be pulsed to create sound. And you can change the color. So think about it like a pixel in 3D space. Anywhere along the path of that laser, they are able to produce plasma at any point along that line, and they can control it. The intense focusing of the laser energy per unit area to the levels is high enough to break the molecular bonds and ionize the air itself. It's a high energy electrons that are colliding with the molecules, knocking off more electrons. There's this cascading effect that rapidly increases the number of free electrons, thus forming plasma. The plasma itself emits light because the free electrons recombine with ions, or they excite the nearby atoms, which emit photons as they return to their ground states.
Now, regardless of all the technical talk, basically, let me just sum this up. Essentially, they have the technology that you can take a particle in midair, shoot essentially a laser at it, it will wrap around the particle and create a 3D hologram in midair. This hologram, not only that, creates heat. Now, once again, not speculative, not theoretical, absolutely provable in use technology today, probably for a long time. So not only that, so they can take this, create this, whether this is the actual science behind it or not, I'm not sure, but I will say, do they have the ability to do this? Yes, they can show it to you. And I'll show you how they've probably used this in the past and are using it right now and used it in the past. So they can take this like sort of pulse, I'll explain this dummy like that Marty can understand. Take this essentially pulse, this beam, take a particle in midair, wrap around that particle and create whatever. Let your imagination run wild. Not only that, it can emit heat and sound. And I'll show you that just here. So when we talk about they have the technology to literally just blast back UV rays from a centralized laser focused point of light in the sky that has a hologram in it, guys, that's not, oh, they just came up with that technology in 2000. As far as we can tell, some of that technology is 1950. Not an exaggeration. Now, take that technology and just, shoot forward 100 years or whatever it is, 180 years, whatever you want to say. Okay? Comes from the Department of Defense. Now you'll see plasma wrapped around a particle in midair. Guess what it does? Emits sound.
Pentagon scientists have finished testing on an early weapon that can make laser plasma balls talk.
Stop, or we will be forced to fire upon you.
It's called the laser-induced plasma effect, and it's made by the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate. So what they've done is basically created a laser that can shoot out to a certain distance, and they can pipe in sound waves through it, and actually make human voice sounds and commands.
Stop, or we will be forced to fire upon you.
Now where this becomes useful is around an area where you want to keep a perimeter secure. So essentially you can shoot out this laser, you can then talk to the people on the edge of the perimeter rather than sending troops out there and tell them to get away or you're going to shoot, or get away or they're going to...
You see that right there? You know what that is? That is a little plasma ball made in thin air, made by a light that is able to emit sound, heat, a hologram. Pick your poison. This is what we're saying. This technology is not only available, it's in use. And guess who has the R&D and the Black Ops budget and everything like that? Jaron Campanella. Oh no, I would probably be the United States government and every government that signed the Antarctic Treaty.
Use other means to deter them. And that same laser can be used to actually target the individual and create heat through pinpricks, like microscopic pinpricks in their skin, even beneath clothing. It's extremely uncomfortable and people move out of the way almost immediately. At the same time, the exact same laser is also being used as kind of a never-ending flashbang grenade. It can basically, with a power source, it can constantly create audible effects to deter and confuse and just orient people, just like a flashbang grenade that you would have in your kit, but would only be able to flash once, maybe twice, depending on the design. Now, it's still a few years away. They just finished testing to get the audio portion through the laser in a laboratory setting this year, but they expect to have a fieldable version within the next 5 years that troops could use to protect different areas or put on mobile platforms to disperse crowds or use it in a non-lethal way in theater.
Okay, so they're 4 or 5 years away from building. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that they're just rolling out this technology and then showing you the progress of this technology so that foreign governments could find this technology and build it for themselves? Think through it, guys. Okay? So they're showing you. Emits light, heat, sound in midair. You're seeing a mini sun right there. Now, guys, let's rewind all the way to 2011. Remember 2011? Remember that? And people were saying, guys, no planes hit that building. No planes hit those buildings. That plane just was like just like butter right through it. And people say, well, no, I saw a plane. Or maybe you saw a hologram. Maybe, let's watch this.
We've seen it from the front angle before, but not from this angle.
That plane just sliced right through the building. We didn't see plane parts fall off. Nothing, right? And everybody saw it, didn't they? You mean to tell me there were no planes on 9/11? But what about the sound? Wait, you mean the tech that they're already showing us? Is that what you mean? That, a plasma ball in midair, created with a laser. Do you know how you make a hologram? You could probably use a laser to do that, huh? See what we're saying? When Dave brought this up to me, the lights started going off like crazy because I'm like, no, we're not just talking about some artificial fake sun or suns in Antarctica. We're talking about the tech that they've been using on us for a while. What happened to the plane? Where'd it go? Everybody saw it though, right? And they heard it, didn't they? Boom. I wonder who was behind that. You know who was behind 9/11? Austin, Witsit Gets It, and Jaron Campanella. How about the ISS? How about the tech for the ISS? What is that? I've taken a camera, amateur out there, and I've seen the ISS. What is that, flat earthers? Explain that to me. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's the same technology they used in 9/11. Maybe it's the same technology they used in Antarctica. Once again, anybody that says that tech doesn't exist, some of this stuff existed in the 50s. LCD technology, do you know when that was at least rolled out to the public? RCA, 1950s. That's when they started developing that stuff, which means, once again, 25, 40, 50-year barrier. That means turn of the century, they could have been developing LCD stuff and only rolled it out through RCA. Do you know who owns RCA back in the day? David Sarnoff. I wonder if he's a fan of Christ. See what we're talking about here? Now, you mean, wow, so here's a single part for the ISS. This is the links they'll go to fake your world so that you don't understand where you are. You mean to tell me if they're going to go to links just to build one part for the ISS of a thing that doesn't exist as far as we could tell, maybe this is wrong, maybe not, but that's a hologram up there, and they'll go to the links to make entire laboratories and factories and warehouses to build that stuff, and it's all fake, but they wouldn't fake a sun for 2 YouTubers in a completely controlled area when it's supposed to be completely cloudy, and next thing you know, they just boop. Nothing of what we're saying. This is Tupac in 2012. It's a hologram live at Coachella. Now, apparently some people call that music. I'm not sure, but that's 2012. Just live in front of thousands and thousands of people. How old is that tech? How long has it been developed? Who has their dirty little satanic mitts on this tech? Now, here's this. I'm not going to play this because this comes from, I think Chris Ryan is the guy's show, but I wouldn't trust this guy at all. This is one of these guys that, you know how like certain these characters, and you can really see it. I think it's like a physiognomy thing or something like that, but a lot of these characters, you can just tell right away. They're like, something's not right about you. Will Duffy has that look. He has that look like, I'm just, dude, James O'Keefe has that look. The guy I'm about to show you has this look, okay? That said, what this guy is saying to this Chris Ryan guy is saying that basically there's energy-directed weapons and tech and stuff like that in Antarctica that we can't even dream of. Take it for what it is.
That there are technologies at the South Pole Station that people can't even consider that exist on this planet.
Like what?
Directed energy weapon systems is something that people need to get in their vocabulary fast. The ice cube neutrino detector is not simply a passive listening device as presented for the science that they're claiming it to do. It also has the capacity to transmit. There are embedded in the ice what are called digital optical modules, DOMs. They're about the size of a basketball. The array embedded in the ice is 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. It is the world's largest telescope. And now, because we have proven that it can transmit, it's the world's largest directed energy weapon system.
So maybe that guy's full of poo-poo caca. Maybe he's full of fiddlesticks, dag-nabbit. But would we assume that at least generally what he's saying is true, that the government has a bunch of like dark ops and R&D programs that are wicked as hell and they're operating down in Antarctica? Like what reasonable person that doesn't understand, what's going on in this world would not throw that in as a very, very at least strong possibility. Okay? So this is what we're saying. Now, We talk about this tech, about what would it take to fake a sun? An enclosed environment that, of course, we don't have access to these government, buildings and stuff like that where it could be under the ice, in a ship out, whatever. We have no idea. But, the idea that they've had this tech for a really, really long time it reminded me, and Jennifer and I just watched it last night, of directed energy weapons of the movie Real Genius. You guys ever seen this movie? The premise of this movie, a great movie, by the way, great lines in the movie.
Chris. Morning.
Morning.
Something strange happened to me this morning.
What?
Was it a dream where you...
Admin, please.
Dave who?
Dave, Flat Earth Dave in the chat.
You mean Dave Schillweiss,
Yeah.
Flat Earth Rabbi?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. Dave Weiss, Flat Earth Rabbi is now is not moderator. Okay, let's watch this again. Some great lines in this movie. So, Real Genius. All right, talk about this.
Chris. Morning. Something strange happened to me this morning. Was
It's a dream where you see yourself standing, sort of sun god robes atop pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you?
No.
Why am I the only person that has that dream? Great line. So anyway, in this movie, Real Genius, basically what happens is this Chris Knight guy, by the way, he's named Chris, like Christ. Chris Knight guy is like super genius guy. Basically, the government comes in and uses this MIT, bunch of geniuses, the college kids, to build literally a directed energy weapon. That's what the movie's about. The first scene in the movie, basically, you see this thing in this spaceship in space, and it's got this energy directed weapon, and it shoots a laser. And this is what they do: they build lasers in the thing, and it's supposed to be small and compact, so they can put it on a plane and things like that. The whole movie is about how the government has basically infiltrated the universities using university R&D and all of that sort of stuff to build this technology and then taking it and using it for weaponry. That's what the movie's about. Do you know when this movie was released? 1985. 1985, they were telling you that they have small, miniature, energy-directed weapons that can, as they said, vaporize a human target in space, if you will, right, wherever, if you will. Okay? So this is what this movie's about. This is the end of this. Let's just show. So basically, at the end, they sabotage the whole thing, and then this beam shoots into the guy's house, and this popcorn explodes and things like that. 1985, Hollywood was telling you that they had energy-directed weapons. Wrong clip.
Target locked in 10, 9, 8. Come out! Okay, God! Let me have it!
Okay, you get the point. So the point is this, is that they were showing you, as Hollywood does, like sort of this, like, what do you want to say, foreshadowing, or what do you want to say? Yeah, they've you know what? You know how old that tech is, that DEW tech that they're showing you in 1985? 20s, 30s maybe? Maybe even before that? Think that's an exaggeration? No, it's not. Not at all. Now, this is what they say in the movie. So they build this energy-directed weapon. It's used to be put out small, so compact, where they could use it anywhere. It can vaporize a human target in space or whatever. And this is what they say about the laser in the video. Watch this.
It is possible to synthesize excited bromide in an argon matrix. Yes, it's an exomer, frozen in its excited state.
That's impossible.
It's a chemical laser, but in solid, not gaseous form. Put simply, in deference to you, Kent, it's like lasing a stick of dynamite. As soon as we apply a field, we couple to a state that is radiatively coupled to the ground state. I figure we can extract at least 10 to the 21st photons per cubic centimeter, which will give 1 kilojoule per cubic centimeter at 600 nanometers, or 1 megajoule per liter.
That's hotter than the sun.
It's small. It's supposed to be small.
Of course,
That's hotter than the sun. It's small. It's supposed to be small. They could never recreate the sun. You mean to tell me they don't have lasers? They don't have holographic high definition technology, and they can't recreate UV lights? Who in the world, what kind of globy flatty would show up at this channel and say, nope, can't do it? This is what we're saying. As soon as Dave brought this up, I'm like, whoa, the tech is old, probably been in use for a long time, and this actually would explain, what is the ISS? It's a hologram. What were those planes that crashed into the building? Hologram. What about the sound, Marty? Oh, that's just crazy. What about the sound? They literally tell you that they can do it. Vroom! What was that? A plasma ball? A holographic plasma ball? Literally in midair? So this is what got these wheels spinning. Then I thought about, by the way, this is what they say in the video. So finally, when they build the laser, this is just a little anecdote what I thought was funny. When they finally build the laser, do you know what they build it out of? Dry ice. I love that movie. Ice is nice. Now, okay, so now, great. Oh, maybe, obviously this is theoretical and speculative. A lot of this stuff is, but we're theorizing and speculating on the basis of technology that is absolutely already there. Now, what have we all been hearing since I've been born, right? Since at least the 40s, 50s, right? Of course, you've seen this. A UFO agenda. You could be a flat earther or a globe earther, and I can guarantee if you're a conspiratard, you know that they have been pushing a UFO alien invasion agenda for a long, long time. Ancient aliens trying to, erase our past from understanding the glory of humanity by claiming that, aliens built the pyramids. How long have they been pushing this down our throat? A long time.
I couldn't help at one point in my discussions privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species from another planet outside in the universe.
This is 80s, right? I think so. So the UFO agenda is in full swing, and they're populating your mind with these ideas, and this is what Hollywood is all about, which we'll talk about in the second part of this sermon. All of these movies, every last one of them, to prepare you for what? A holographic fake alien invasion, which the technology will be so advanced that it's going to seem like magic. Just like the sun. It's so advanced, we have the proof that it's that advanced, that when those guys went south down there to Antarctica, they looked up and they couldn't tell the difference. Yet, when you actually start analyzing it, we got some issues, don't we? Squishy sun. Squishy, squishy sun, don't we? Sun's very white, too. Maybe because it's advanced technology that we just don't even, we can't even, we can comprehend it, but, you know, we're not hip to this. We're not privy to this sort of stuff. And this is what's being used. Now, understanding this, understanding that they are lying to us about our cosmology, understanding that a UFO agenda, fake alien agenda has been in the works for a very, very long time. Now that we see all this, and that they would go to such lengths to literally put a hologram of a sun in the sky to fake everybody and put the egg on the face of all of us flat earthers, as if any reasonable flat earther gave two shiitake shroomsicles about any of this. So now we look at who just became president. And who is his little left-hand, right-hand man there? You mean the guy that's full-time faking? What do you think SpaceX is? Do you think a SpaceX is actually driving rovers around on Mars and sending cars into space? Or do you think that these guys are exactly what we say they are? Dark magicians, wizards. And do you know what they're doing? They're dreaming a nightmare for you. That's what they're doing. Anybody that's MAGA, I've got some, you know, now that Donald's in charge, I've got some hope about, you know, I'm going to put my hope in these guys. No, these guys are full-time dark black magicians that are going to, as far as I can tell, you know, push towards this agenda of literally a fake alien invasion. We also know that there's, what's his name? Larry Ellison right there. Doesn't he own Lahaina, right? Doesn't he own one of the islands? Like, how can you even own an island?
The little island.
Yeah, the little island. Lanai, not Lahaina, excuse me. Lanai, Larry Ellison over there. AI will design mRNA vaccines for every individual person against cancer. Why do you think they're pushing AI stuff so much, along with this, you know, holographic technology, all that sort of stuff? What do you think that they're doing? Of course, we had Donald didn't put his hand on the Bible either. I don't know, just pretty interesting. Just in, you know, 2017, there's Melania, whatever her name is. What's her name? And then there she is. She's looking like one of the Spy versus Spy characters. He doesn't have his hand on the Bible. Pretty interesting. Everybody can see that too. Tech titans bicker over $5 billion AI investment announced by Trump. So Trump immediately comes out. He's like, guess what? AI vaccines and tons of AI technology that is going to be indistinguishable from magic to the little goyim. As my friend as Jared mentioned there, this is all you need to know. He's right. Top companies, what do? NVIDIA, AI. Apple, AI. Microsoft, AI. Amazon, obviously, space and, what is it, Blue, what was that thing that he never went, or whatever it was, Blue, it doesn't matter. Alphabet, Google, what do you think they're doing? Every single one of these top companies are black magicians, dark magicians, and they're going to try to manufacture reality as they already are doing. So while all these people, and this is why I was so harsh about people claiming that this world is the demiurge, no, it's not. It's God's world. God owns this world. God created this world. He created it for us. The demiurge, if you will, is coming from these people. They are trying to they're trying to take God's world and create a living hell, a living nightmare. This is what these movies are actually about. These movies are not about the demiurge that actually created the physical world or anything like that that people assume. No. This is just telling you exactly what these cheese and crackers guys, these frackin' fudges are doing. Not these frackin', but you get what I'm saying. These guys. So. Is the tech there? Anybody that shows up here and says they don't have the tech, just stop. Stop. You really need to actually get your head around what's going on in our world right now. Any of you people that are like, oh, Jared and Austin, you really should take a step back, take a breather, maybe do some meditation, some prayer, and realign yourself a little bit. All of this infighting and blaming and YouTubers and stuff like that is missing the mark, and we are falling Anybody that's engaging in that is falling in their trap. They're a spider, they set a web, and you just jumped right into it, is what you did. And Dave and I are trying to bring reason and rationale back to this and say, hey, let's breathe, let's take a step back, let's look at this thing with hard, be extremely diligent about, the conclusions that we come to. And as far as I'm concerned, whether there's a fake sun in Antarctica or not, let's just say for the sake of this conversation, no, that's a real sun down there. That stuff right there, everything I just showed you, is dagnabbit, son of a monkey, it's shivering timbers scary. And people need to wake up to this, say, hey, the stuff that rolls out, they're going to start doing a bunch of magic tricks, and there already are. As my friend was saying, there are probably, and people actually know this to be true, there are probably influencers that are just AI, completely. That their followers are probably just bot accounts and things like that. As my friend was saying, there probably already have been whole television shows, possibly, that are already AI. We can already see that there's a bunch of these commercials that are just completely AI, literally just fabricated. What do you think this technology is going to be in 10, 20 years? What technology do they already have that they're going to start rolling out that if we don't get hip to what these people are doing, that we're going to fall for it? Just like TFE, just like all of those flat earthers, they fell for exactly what they wanted them to do. Blame Jaron and Austin. They must be on the side of this Illuminati or Freemasons or whatever. And all we're saying is, let's take a breather, let's take a step back, let's let this stuff roll in, let's be reasonable, honest, and thorough about what we present. And when this was brought up, I was like, good Lord. If there is, let's just say there's no 24-hour sun down there. Once again, that people need to get hip to what's going on. They are going to use and already are using this technology against us. And as far as I can tell, that's exactly what happened to Jaron and Austin down there. MC Toon, Dave McKeegan, Professor Dave, explain to me on your ball why we get squishy sun. All right, let's take a break. We have the Private Membership Association, if you would like to join, and that is going pretty well. We are redoing our website, by the way. That'll hopefully be done in, I don't know how long it's going to take or whatever, but we're revamping the whole thing, so that's good. Just because we had some issues there and there, no big deal. But so if you would like to support the Private Membership Association, we have a Private Membership Association commercial. Let's play it. Okay.
If you would like the entire collection of services from the Gnostic Academy, including the MP4s, MP3s, all the graphics from each sermon, as well as a plethora of additional content, please consider becoming a member at GnosticAcademy.org. These sermons are not available anywhere else on the web and have been made exclusive to people who are truly dedicated to learning the mysteries. Membership will gain you access to the Gnostic Academy Telegram channels, which includes every sermon and video since 2022. Members will also receive 10% off anything on the website and get access to personal consultations, any future in-person events, as well as any church Zoom meetings we do. Memberships are just $144 a year. If you are struggling financially and cannot afford a membership, contact us at info@gnosticacademy.org and let us know, as we will work with you to get you access. For more details, please visit our church store at gnosticacademy.org. Thank you for being a part of our tiny church, the best church ever, with the best flock of good birds this side of heaven.
All right, thank you. If you'd like to donate via the website, there's the donate tab there. Like I said, we're going to redo the website hopefully in a couple weeks or something like that. It should be done. And of course, we have snail mail, 7781 County Road 3440, Mountain View, Missouri 65548. And if you are interested in the PMA, make sure to read all of the information at the PMA because it's important. Because it's not just like, I want to be a part of the church. No, it actually requires. You have to pay us, and then it requires things of you. I know. That's just how it is. So thank you to everybody for that. So I did notice that this is what I mean, and I'm not trying to call anybody out here. Wait, no, we can call this guy out. Can you imagine being a flat earther and calling anyone researchers god awful? These are the kind of people that this shines a light on. Guys like this. This is a total joke. And he will find out after he's all said and done with this life how much of a joke his life was. Good. That's the way it works down here. If you just accept it, then it's all good. So, but somebody had said, I think it's effed up world here. I'm going to say here. Marty, the sun, God can put the sun in the sky, but tech, I disagree 100%. Doesn't matter if you disagree. This is what I'm saying. You can disagree all you want. You can invest in this technology. To say that they don't have it is to go directly against absolute proofs that they do. And a long time. This is why I've been so strong about this, because regardless if there's a sun or not, we need to get hip to the sort of technology and the mind spells and the magic spells that are going to be used against humanity moving forward. I'm saying this because I care about your children. Okay? Marty, the sun, they don't have the tech. Yes, they do. They do. I don't know how many times I could stress it in this live stream. I'm sure I'm annoying you guys, but it's true. Okay? We got to get hip to it. We got to start recognizing that. Okay? Yeah, 9/11. Where did that sound come from? Where did it come from? What happened to the plane? Why did it just go like a butter, just go right into that building? See what we're saying? Okay. So, now that we've covered all of that, let's get to the second part of this live stream called, this is Sunday Service number 150, Redreaming the Nightmare, and the Future is Not Yet Written. So we're going to talk about the fact that, as we said, what is all this sort of stuff? What is the ISS? What is NASA, JAXA, ESA, JPL? What are all these AI companies? What are they doing? What is it high tech? Yes, it's high tech. Yes, it's satanic. Yes, but what ultimately are they doing? They're performing magic. This world is not run by nuts and bolts and cogs and gears and atoms smashing together and any of that stuff. This world is run by perception and magic. The sun in Antarctica. If we can actually say that that is a fake sun, we have all the proofs that they have the technology to do it, they have all the wherewithal to do it, they have the ability to do that, they have control of the situation to do that, all of that sort of stuff. Then we say, what did Jaron and Austin believe that they saw? A real sun. Maybe it was a real sun. Maybe. But if it is a fake sun, then guess what they just underwent? A magic spell. Guys, guess what? It's a real sun. Guess what all the flat earthers did, myself included? It's a real sun. Maybe not. Maybe it's just more of their dark black magic that they've been doing forever, that we've been saying forever. What is magic? It's the power of apparently influencing the course of events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. Supernatural means, in one of the ways it means, is as we explain it, and have explained it thoroughly on our little church here, is that supernatural, one of the things it means is metaphysical. Meaning numbers themselves are supernatural. They're natural, they're part of the natural world, but are they in the natural world? No, there's no number in the natural world. So therefore it's natural, but it kind of has this sort of super element to it, right? So what are numbers? What are geometry? What is language? What are thoughts? Metaphysical. That's what it is. So when we're saying, hey, the laser and the hologram and all of that stuff that they 100% have the tech to do, what are they tricking people with? Metaphysics. Supernatural. It's natural technology, but what is it doing? It's basically creating a dream, a false reality for you, and getting you to believe it. That's called black magic. White magic, in this sort of sense, the magic that leads you to Christ and God, right? That magic is what undoes these spells. That's what we do. That's what we do. That's what I've been doing since 2011. And all of you people that want to throw the shade at me, you're throwing shade at a guy that's trying to help unravel this stuff. Just like we do it with this. Just like we do it with this. Just like we do it with our language. They're magicians. Listen to me. Please. They're magicians. They're doing this. This is what history is, guys. And then what do? Repetition, image, supernatural means. They manipulate your mind. They get you to see things that make you believe things that are not actually. There was a plane. I saw a plane. You can't tell me that there wasn't a plane on 9/11, Marty. You can't tell me that. Or a black magician just did that to you. See what I'm saying? If it turns out that there is actually a 24-hour sun there, guess what? All of this stuff is still 1,000% important. You get what I'm saying? I want to make sure I'm very clear today. Magic, the etymology, is the art of influencing or predicting events and producing marvels using hidden natural forces or a supernatural art. Sorcery, magic. One of the members of the learned and priestly class, if you will, some of the chosen boys, decided to use supernatural magic against the Goyim. And they did it with how did they do it? The art of influencing. Using natural forces. Are holograms natural? We can, right? You can see hologram, like all that sort of stuff. Yes, this is what they're doing. They're using this tech against people. Now, we call this redreaming the nightmare. And this is what I'm saying is that what human beings have forgotten is that how much power we actually have. And this is one of the main things that they don't want us to understand, is that we actually dream our reality, our thoughts, our intentions. What we say actually creates the world. Now, what do Satanists do? They hijack your thoughts, they hijack your mind, they hijack your psychology and get you to repeat whatever they want you to repeat. So that way they bring into the world whatever is said. We'll talk about this. We just did this is why I had to do this, because we just did a few live streams where we talked about the demiurge and soul traps and all of that sort of stuff, right? And then we also just did one where we talked about the Ojibwe story of creation. And in the Ojibwe story of creation, we'll watch bits from both of these. In the Ojibwe story of creation, we have this story that Kitchi Manitou, which is the great creator, dreams up the world. And in dreaming up the world, he gave us the power to dream. And in our dreams, what we dream, what our heart's intention, what actually goes on in our mind, what we speak into reality, actually becomes our reality. Now, Satan worshipers, dark magicians, grab a hold of our consciousness and direct it through the ways that they do and get us to bring forward their reality. And what I'm here to say is that we need to stop doing that. We have the power, and God has given us the power to redream this world. And I don't mean just dream, like sit around like, dream. No, to put into action. And I'll get into this, but if you sit around and curse the world, then you're going to get a cursed world. It's exactly what they want you to do. Oh, this place is screwed. It's aft. Everything is, it's fiddlesticked. It's gee willikers. It's corn nuts. Great Scott frackin' fudges. It's screwed up. God's like, oh, is that what you want? Is that what you're repeating? Everything's effed. Okay, here you go. That's the power we have. They know it. We don't. And now we need to learn it again and utilize our powers again. So, 2 clips here, about 5 minutes, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes, okay? First one is from, once again, it's just basically a clip about God dreaming up the world, right? And basically that this is sort of God's dream. And now when we understand it that way, then we realize that we are made in his image, which means that we, in our powers of our thoughts and our hearts, can absolutely change this world with our actions, okay? But we'll get into this. So, God dreams up the world, right? This is from this Alan Watts. It's a little bit abbreviated, but so we get so we review this. Okay.
I wonder what you would do if you had the power to dream at night any dream you wanted to dream. You'd think up a new wrinkle to forget that you were dreaming, so that you would think it was all for real, and to be anxious about it. And then, because it'd be so great when you woke up. And then you'd say, well, like children who dare each other on things, how far out could you get? What could you take? What dimension of being lost, of abandonment of your power, what dimension of that could you stand? You could ask yourself this because you know you'd eventually wake up. Then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality. Not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that, only you're pretending you're not.
Okay, so say for all the ball stuff there, basically what he's saying is God dreams up the world, right? You're in the dream. He gave you the power to dream, and you're playing like you're not God. And the whole point of waking up is to recognize, no, I am an extension of that. That I am the God that comes from the totality of the God. I am that ray of light, and I am that thing, and I'm waking up to it. They want to keep you asleep that you're not that. And be like, Marty, are you saying we're gods? Yes. No, actually, I'm not saying it. Christ is saying it when he says, is it not written in your law, I said, ye are gods? You, us, we have the power to redream this thing. Make it into a reality. We have forgotten on the whole as a humanity that we even have that power. We all think that we're just pushed along by the elite agenda that just does this thing. No, the only reason that we're pushed along by that agenda is because we've forgotten the power that we have. One of the first things we need to do is bring truth and reality back to the situation and call this stuff out. This is why I always say, you gotta know when to speak, when to be quiet, when to, how to handle those situations, how to navigate that sort of thing. But you need to shout it from the rooftops. It's your children's future. It's your future. So he's given us the ability to dream as gods. And we've forgotten that. We're carried along by their nightmare. No more. No more. So Kitchi Manitou speaks the holy word. So this is what we just finished last week. A documentary. It's been seen by like 1,000 people or something. God, good Lord. Anyway, so God, basically the great creator, dreaming up this world and then giving us the power to be the magicians of this world. Pay attention to what I'm saying. We'll get into this, okay? We'll get into abracadabra and all that other stuff. So, Kitchi Manitou, the Ojibwe great creator, speaking the dream into existence and giving us the power as magicians.
According to the Ojibwe, in the beginning there was a great black void, and in that void there was a spirit called the Great Mystery, who sent his thoughts out into the universe. And when no response happened, those thoughts were called back, and the Great Mystery spoke aloud, "Create light in the universe as you come back to me." It was then that all the stars and planets were formed. Again, Genesis tells us a very similar story. In the beginning, the Spirit of God hovered over the dark cosmic ocean waters, eventually to speak out light into the world. The light that was spoken out into the universe was Kitchi Manitou's dream. In his dream, he saw the sky filled with the sun, earth, moon, and stars. He saw the earth covered with mountains and valleys, lakes and islands, prairies and forests. Everything had its place. Everything was perfect in its order. Kitchi Manitou spoke his dream into creation, and all of the universe obeys his mighty voice. Just like Kitchi Manitou, who brought his dream to life, he has given us humans the same power to dream our reality. Be careful what you speak and dream into this world, for Kitchi Manitou is always listening. Man being given the ability to magically create what he speaks is found in the ancient magical word abracadabra, which means, I create what I speak. Abracadabra reminds us that what we speak, what we think, what we dream, and our heart's intentions will be manifested into the world, and that we are responsible for that which we speak into the world. We humans have been given a great power, the power to dream and manifest our own reality, so we must learn to treat our divine powers with great respect and care. We are given the ability to bring forth great pain and suffering or great beauty and love, a thing that is often forgotten by us humans. We live in a magical world, and we are always doing magic, so we best learn how to do it properly.
We live in a magical world, and we're always doing magic, so we best learn how to do it properly. What does that mean? Well, it's once again abracadabra. Let's listen to Rabbi Steve Letter talk about what the Hebrews know about how to create their world, because they understand that they are the magicians, that they create what they speak, and that collectively they do this against humanity. And what they've got man, you and I, in a nightmare, thinking that we don't dream our world, thinking that we don't collectively have power. And they've dreamed that, and they've got you to believe that dream. So redream the nightmare. This is Rabbi Stephen Letter and his understanding of the power of human beings, our intention, our voice, and what we speak into reality. And this is something we already covered, but this is why we have to cover it again, because this is so important, especially looking at the future that we're looking at, okay?
You know that phrase abracadabra?
Yeah.
That magicians use? That comes from the Talmud. It's an Aramaic phrase. Abra kidabra. Abra kidabra, which means I create as I speak. We create worlds as we speak. So in the Bible, think about it. Story of creation. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. The world was created through speech with words. And so that's the first Hebrew thing that just amazes me, is this idea of words and thing being the same.
Don't you love that dramatic music? And they always claim it's theirs. I just love it. They even say it's like Aramaic, but it's a Hebrew thing. It's coming from the Talmud. It's our stuff, once again, right? It's like they just think they own everything. No, you don't own the notion that you speak into the... Even Kitchi Manitou and the Ojibwe understood that, dude. So it's not yours. It just shows how absolutely psycho freaking pathic these people are. You're possessed, bro. You think you possess everything. You don't own a dag nabbit, man. You don't own poo on a stick, okay? So, abracadabra, this is what we mean by dreaming and speaking our reality. We have all been collectively, and as far as I can tell, our entire lives, just think that life just happens. There's just things that just go along down here, and this is just what goes on, and then you're just kind of just a victim of the whole thing. You just got to get strung along. This is what everybody has been essentially trained to believe. No, you're a magician. And I don't think we have even a close to the understanding that if we start absolutely redreaming our world, and I'll explain what I mean, that we couldn't put a stop to this. We just don't even understand our power. We create what we speak. This is what abracadabra means. It means your heart's intentions, what you think, that sort of stuff goes out into the world. God is basically, now he doesn't just give you, it isn't like, he's like, well, I want a freaking Ferrari and I'm going to dream it and then God's just going to give us a Ferrari. That's not how it works. But you have to understand that the things that your intention, what you think, what's in your heart, God is hearing all of that and being like, what do you want? What do you want? What's that? Huh? Oh, everything's effed. Okay, there you go. Okay, great. That's what you want? Your wish is my command. We have all been strung along by magicians that have basically been put this stuff in our head. Look at the world. I mean, there's just no hope in the future. Shut up. Shut up. You're dreaming your world. You are speaking reality into existence. Talk about what's good, Dr. Melissa Sell said. She needs to get off the ball. Love Dr. Melissa Sell, but Melissa Sell, you got to get off the ball. We're trying to help you, sister, okay? I don't know. Maybe she's not on the ball. I don't know. Anyway, proverb. What do you think a proverb is for? This is what we talked about. For action. That's what it means. Literally words put forward. So when you get like an ad, you like read the book of Proverbs and all of these wonderful, pithy, short sayings. Great. No, they're telling you now take those things and put them into action in your world. If you, and this is what it means. So this is what we were talking about. Why would you listen to Aleister Crowley? Why not? Even if this guy's a total piece of scum, gutter trash, even if that were the case, that doesn't mean what he's saying isn't true. Why should you study and practice magic? I could say this. You might just quote me. I'll just rip Aleister Crowley off. Because you can't help doing it, and you had better do it well than badly. Because this is what Masonry is. This is why I get so hard on these people, because Masonry is trying to teach you that. Where is it? Where is it? What do you think the ruffians were? What do you think Hiram Abiff is? What is the main message of that myth that's central to Freemasonry? Is that, guess what? Magic, supernatural, wisdom, that sort of stuff in the wrong hands, in the hands of ruffians, in the hands of a couple Jews. I mean, the Jubela, Jubilo, and Jubilum. That's what I mean by Jews. Okay. In the hands of Jews can be extremely, extremely dangerous thing. Okay, so now let's say that the information that Hiram Abiff had was laser holography and plasma technology, and now that stuff is in the hands of what? Those ruffians. This is what Masonry is trying to teach you. It's also teaching you to be like, hey, hold your ground, and even if you're beat to death, never give them an inch. You know why? Because those ruffians are dreamers. They're dreaming the world up. And those dreams are manifesting because they put their whole heart, their whole intention. They pray about the world that they want to bring forward. Are we doing that? No. No, as far as I know, no. Most people are not doing that. They're just like, well, I guess the elite win again. God's trying to tell us, even in God saying, let there be light, he gave us that power. Kitchi Manitou gave us that power. We just don't know we have it. This is what this is about. This book, Secret. You mean you're promoting The Secret? No. Most of this is trash, right? Of course, right? But, I mean, just like, oh, your heart's desires, everything like that. But when I actually came across this a long time ago, the fundamental idea, I was like, no, that's sound. This whole idea of like manifesting your reality, that what you think, what's your heart intention, somehow and in some way will be expressed in the outside world. I actually learned that before I even heard of The Secret from Carl Jung. Carl Jung was like, yeah, you got to watch what goes on inside, because God listens all the time. He knows what's exactly in the center of your heart. All those bad thoughts that you had, he's just, oh, okay, then you're going to cycle bad thoughts. Okay, that what you want? Okay, here's an ocean flow of those bad thoughts that you created. Now, you might have some black magicians that put that in your head, but we also need to be the responsible ones, the spiritually enlightened ones, to say, no more of your black magic. But everybody's going to think you're an idiot because you think there's a fake sun. I don't care at all. Not even a little bit. Do you think I care? Let's see. On one hand, I've got Professor Dave, and actually, let's do this right. Left hand, I've got Professor Dave, and on the right hand, I've got the Lord Jesus Christ. I wonder which one I want to go with. Black magic is not a myth. It is a totally... It's in this sort of sense, unscientific and emotional form of magic, but it does get results of an extremely temporary nature. Like, this is what we actually see, and this is what I've said numerous times, even over the last few years. Their magic spells are wearing off. It's of an extremely temporary nature. And maybe that magic spell will go 50 years, 80 years, 100 years, but it's going to wear off. So... this is why we have, when I say a manifest destiny, when I said that the Jews, and they're working with all sorts of international interests and things like that, a Goyim front, When I say that the Greater Israel Project is the Jewish manifest destiny, this is what I mean. They have a belief in their religion. They are 1,000% committed to it. They feel like they have a destiny through that, and through their commission, through their being so committed and engaging in magic, they manifest that destiny. And they're manifesting that destiny right now because we don't realize that we are the dream makers. They're making their dream right now, and it's a nightmare. And we can redream that nightmare. But we have to first realize that we have the power to do so. And guess who gave us that power? Who gives you power? God. So that power that we inherently have comes directly from source. Woo! That's hot. That's some hot. Whoo! Really touch that right there. Good Lord. See what I'm saying? They're sweeping across the lands right now because they're dreaming up of their little Abraham back in the day was supposed to cross a desert and actually went up and then down and thinks they own everything. It's psychopathic, ridiculous. I mean, it's cheese and crackers, ladies and gentlemen. It's Veda's jar of curses is what this is. Nonsense. But guess what? They're dreaming it, living it, manifesting those dreams, 1,000% committed to it. Are we? Are we committed to it the same way? This is what we say. You go down the rabbit hole, it's every Steinberg, Singleberg, Time Woods, okay? So Israel is creating, I know it's just kind of a play on words, but it's fun. They create what they speak. They create what is real. Is it actually real? No. Once again, if that was a fake sun down there, but is it real now in the minds of how many people? Why? Because is it actually real? Is it real? Or is it a black magic spell? Even if there is a 24-hour sun in down south, whatever, of Antarctica, guess what they're still doing, guys? Take cosmology completely out of this conversation. Guess what they're still doing, guys? Any of you people out there that are tuning your ear to any of these influencers, once again, let me say this, and they're not talking about this, you need to shut them off. You need to harp on them hard about talking about this sort of stuff, the tech, the manipulation of our cosmology, and who's behind it. Otherwise, shut them off because they are wasting your time and they're filling your head full of a bunch of noise, and then they're getting you to dream that noise. And by the way, Will Gensky made the funniest frickin' joke. They're called, the hair things are called stalactites and hebsicles. So that's what they're sorry. So Hollywood, what do you think Hollywood is? Now, people have said, like, oh, it's a land of magicians, basically. It's like Holly or Holywood, is like, you can get to the cross there, or maybe they're talking about magic wands and Hollywood, that sort of stuff. Okay, great. But we know, what is it? It's magicians. It's black magicians. This is what I said, when they're filling your head full of all this stuff and want you to dream the future that they want for you. This is why we don't fill our head with any of this sort of stuff. And we also know, okay, so Marty's saying that they're black magicians, and those black magicians are using this as literally to attack humanity, as a war on humanity. And then it's like, well, yeah, of course, that's exactly, they just tell you that that's what they're doing. How Hollywood became the unofficial propaganda arm of the U.S. military. What are they doing? Filling your head with ideas, images, black magic, so that you create the world that they want. That's why we shut this stuff off. We already know, we already just talked about this. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. Look, I'm going to toot my own horn here, okay? Toot, toot. This is why you should be listening to the Gnostic Church, because we just covered this sort of stuff. This is what they fill your heads with, right? What are demons? These are demon worshipers. They are literally, not literally, but figuratively, whatever you want. Actually, no, literally, putting demons out into the world when you understand what a demon is correctly, and you're absorbing that and then regurgitating those demonic thoughts, right? This is what we do on Mass. Guilty, guilty, everyone's guilty. So now we got to figure out, hey, we were victims of this stupid thing. We're not going to be victims anymore. We're not going to do this anymore. We're going to elevate ourselves. Okay, great. So what we just talked about, what are demons? They're the impure thoughts and actions, sins, transgressions against God, immorality, fear and doubt. You have fear and doubt about yourself? Okay, well, that's what God's bringing into the world. Oh, I can't do that. No, you can't. Everything is just, what was I going to say? Everything's ruined. Oh, yeah. You know this song? Now everything's ruined. Yeah. Now everything's ruined. Yeah. Oh, great song. Everything's screwed. Everything's effed. Everything's ruined. What's that? What do you want? God's like, what? Huh? Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, sure. Is that what you want? See what I'm saying? Believe it in your heart that you're meant to live a full life of passion, purpose, magic, and miracles. We do not need magic to transform our world. We carry all of the power we need inside ourselves already. J.K. Rowling. Magic exists. Who can doubt it? When there are rainbows and wildflowers, the music of the wind and the silence of the stars. Nora Roberts. Pretty nice, huh? How about this one? If you can dream it, you can achieve it. Walt Disney. And everybody wants to think that this guy's some satanic guy. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I think Disney was probably hijacked after this guy got a hold of it. Because that's what they do. So, Club 33. You mean like Marty Leeds 33? Maybe you guys just... Maybe there's some information that you're kind of missing. Maybe you just went full retard and King Nico, and you're going to be a Freemason Slayer or something like that. So, we're not victim of the elite. We're not victims of the elite agenda. Maybe we have been, but we can wake up to that. The thing that they don't want us to understand is that we are the dream makers. We are just realizing our power to dream again. The human spirit, quote me, the human spirit will always be more powerful than any weapon or mind spell. Do you know why? Because where does the human spirit come from? Where does it come from, guys? Okay, cool. So let's start dreaming and manifesting those dreams. Okay? Now, going back to this, what do they want us to manifest? All of this. That's what our entire world is full of. Porn, Hollywood, addictions, all of this other stuff, so that you create their nightmare. You do it. We do it. It's a battle of the mind, always is. The battle of this is, basically overviews of essentially what the Bible talks about. When it says, is this a war? As we know, is it a war of flesh and blood? Well, I'm not saying that there aren't physical things we have to undergo, that sort of thing, but always, it's what? It's a war of the mind. Why? Because if you can get the mind, if you can change the mind, it's just like people argue. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that too much. Sorry. The battle of the mind is a spiritual battle where the enemy tries to influence a person's mind to get them focused away from God's truth. The battle of the mind is a spiritual battle where the enemy tries to influence a person's mind to get them to focus away from God's truth. What are they doing? What's the truth? This is geocentric. Everything's spinning around us and God made it all for us. What are they trying to get you to do? What was TFE all about? As far as I can tell. Once again, maybe there's a 24-hour sun down there. Maybe. I still want to know about Squishy Sun, though. That's all. It's important to know the truth, okay? And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free, okay? It's important to know the truth, but you also can't, where is this? I want to make sure. You also can't, you have to know about it, but you can't just sit there and wallow in it, okay? There's a huge difference between being ignorant and being knowledgeable and not wallowing in the knowledge of the darkness, okay? So on the top, it's not okay. As a Gnostic, you need to know. Part of that knowing is going into the darkness so that you can come out of it. You don't go down there, you don't get to the other side. So you got to know. You can't shut your ears to it. Because eventually God's like, oh, you shut your ears to it? You're going to have to go back down there again. Eventually you're going to have to open your ears. Because you're going to have to open your ears in order to hear my word, God says. There's a difference between ignoring all of the crap that goes on and allowing that despair to help them to continue to create the nightmare. That's what they want you to do. They want you in cycles of despair, cycles of listen to what they're doing. Oh, there's no hope. Everything's ruined. Yeah. That's what they want you to do. Mind spells, magic, psychology. That's what this whole thing is about. Tricks. Okay? It is not hopeless. If the situation was hopeless, their propaganda would be unnecessary. If the situation was hopeless, it's never hopeless. I mean, that's such a... As a young man, I didn't realize that. As an older man, it's so rock solid. If the situation was hopeless, their propaganda would be unnecessary. If the situation was hopeless, their magic spells would be unnecessary. This is what we talked about, responsibility and magic. Temptation is the price that the human race pays for intelligence. Therefore, the serpent of wisdom is also the eternal tempter. Why is the serpent the tempter and also the symbol of wisdom? Because that serpent has tempted you away from God. And what do you have to do? You have to be the warrior. You have to be the serpent slayer. You have to be the dragon slayer. And you have to go and take that serpent and grab it by its neck and its poo on a stick and holy shrimp scampi, strangle that mother fudger and the silly goose pants licker and end him. Say, I got you. Right now, the serpent is saying, stay, go, believe in this, believe, blah, 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 go away from God, that sort of stuff. And we just thought that we were just kind of strung along by this the whole time. We're not. Okay? Temptation is the price that the human race pays for intelligence. Therefore, the serpent of wisdom is also the eternal tempter. When man learns with his growing intelligence of the powers of nature, and most of all, of the power that he himself possesses, there comes with that increasing knowledge ever greater responsibility. Why do you think when we said, hey, you want to sign up? You want to become a member at the Gnostic Church and Academy? Great. Now you got some homework to do. You can have a lot more responsibilities. Yes, that's right. You're going to pay us to have me scream at you every Sunday, and you're going to be a better person. You thought you were just going to pay some money. I was like, I'm part of a church now. No. Now you've got a whole lifetime of responsibility on you, and it's about redreaming your world. That's what we're about. So, if man today knew of the God powers that lie dormant within him, he would be the most dangerous creature in the universe, both to himself and to the plan of things. The soul must grow with the knowledge that it gains. Otherwise, the organisms will ultimately destroy each other. This is why when you say, the more and more power that you realize that you have, the greater and greater responsibility that's put on your shoulders, and that's all part of it, because guess what? You have the power to create hell on earth as they are doing, or you have the power to what? Make angels dance, if you will, right? So, action and reaction must build strength of character so that the will is always strong enough to curb the desires. When this is not the case and desire runs rampant, then regardless of the position of the organism and the path of the unfoldment, a black magician is created. You don't understand your power. You don't take responsibility for it. Regardless of the level of quote-unquote power you have, you're still doing magic, and if you don't take control of that, you will be a black magician. You will be falling for exactly you won't be on the path of God. You continue to just, absorb all this other stuff. You are a black magician now. I talked about this numerous times, about how I looked back at my past and I realized like a lot of the things that I had thought, things that I had written songs about, came true in the future. Why? Well, because I was dreaming my world. One of the things I actually talked about a bunch of these in a thing called My Life of Mysticism or something, or My Life of Synchronicity or Synchromysticism, something like that. It was one of the sermons. Basically talked about how right before we left from Oregon to Hawaii, I had written a song called I Ain't Done Falling in Love with You. I almost forgot the song that I wrote for my wife, and she gave me that evil eye like, you better not forget it. I'm going to dream a reality for you. And then I ain't done falling in love with you. And it's a beautiful song. In that song, this is one of the anecdotes that I've posted before. One of a million, right? In that song I wrote, I was like, it was the last line of the song, and it was the last song on the record right before we moved to Hawaii. And in the song I said, I'm fending off the dogs every bark and bite, Not a month later, we end up living at this place that is a dog rescue where I had dogs attacking me and I was literally fending them off, and we had to leave because I almost got like attacked, right? So I was by thinking all the stuff I'm writing out, I'm manifesting my reality, the future. Why do you think I make prayers every morning now? I tell you, like I said, I know what I'm doing, okay? So there's this guy, Benjamin Todd, talking about responsibility in magic, being responsible. And all of you know what I'm saying right now. All of you hopefully I'm getting to you and you'll be like, oh, Jesus, Marty got to me again today. No, Jesus, I got to rethink that. How many of you have sat at home and looked at all this other stuff and said internally, it's screwed, there's no hope, that sort of stuff? No more. No more. Let me say it again, 3 times. No more. Why? Because God is listening. What are your desires? So I've had this experience now that I'm old and crotchety and everything enough where I've realized thoughts that I had earlier in my life absolutely manifested. There's this guy, he's from I think it's called the Lost Dog. Great band too. I forget what they're called, the Lost Dog Band or something like that. Benjamin Todd, and this is what he said. Now this is a guy. He's a country singer songwriter. He was like a heroin addict. Had alcohol, drugs. He used to be like a total like train hopper, that sort of stuff. Like this guy has lived a life, right? Pretty famous musician, that sort of stuff. But you can tell that as he's gotten older, he's really got into the project of being. Meaning like he's made so many mistakes in his life. He's tattooed, he's heroined up, his liver's shot, that sort of stuff, right? But he's recognized that it's like, hey, my life, what I mean is like that I'm into the project of being. I realize I screwed up. I'm trying to get on a better course, and I'm going to stay on that course, and I'm going to be a pillar on that course. And this is what this guy is basically doing now. It's pretty inspiring, but this is what he said. And when I read this, I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I've been saying for literally years. This guy completely gets it. And what is he doing? He's going to tell you, Benjamin Todd is going to tell you exactly what I'm saying today. You dream your reality. Benjamin Todd Music says this: I have to be careful with what I put into a song because it often ends up coming to life before my eyes. Countless times in my career, I have ended up eating lyrics I wrote. If you know my music, you know that it's usually not a good thing. I have written about some of the worst events in my life before they ever happened. I'll know if they happened because I wrote about them. If I somehow have a connection through time, or if the future is easy to predict based on my patterns, it's eerie and hard to ignore at this point in my life. Amen. So I just write with caution, knowing that I may have to live through whatever I project into this world. Is that not just boom? When I read this, I'm getting shivers right now because I'm like, I know exactly what this guy is saying. I know exactly what he's saying. I've experienced it. I've lived it years now. It's not a bad principle for anyone to live by. You're a magician. That's what he's saying. He doesn't know it. We really do create the world around us in a literal sense. Everywhere you go in any human section of objective reality first existed solely in an individual's mind. This guy, he's probably on a ball. He's probably believes in ball model, globe, earth, and NASA, and he's more profound than most of the flat earthers I've met. Hate me, like me, I don't care. Your thoughts, words, and actions are so much more powerful than we consciously consider on a daily basis. That is why it's so important to have self-control. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Beautiful. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. Just couldn't have said it any better myself. So that guy knows what it's up. That guy knows the power of magic. He's lived it, and he's trying to tell you in the way that he explains it, the way that he understands it. He's a musician that used to do heroin. I'm a terrible musician that used to be a drunk, and now I'm a pastor, and I'm here to tell you the same thing, okay? Heaven must come back to mind. How many times have I showed this? How many times have I said this? This is what we mean. Heaven needs to come back to our mind. We can't expect it in the outside world if we first don't start with here and here. Okay? And this is a Bonnieism. These are bonds. when we were in Lanai is where she lives. I don't know why I keep saying Lahaina, but Lanai, on my birthday, but our friend Bonnie, who actually married us, she's super sweet. We love Bonnie. She's basically like our grandma, right? She basically said, we were having this conversation about like how screwed up the world is and that sort of thing, and she just said something really profound that's really stuck with me over the time, and it's, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but she said something to the effect of this, like, God, right now in our world, God, in all the craziness and everything that's going on, God is asking us, what do we want to see? More so than ever before. We didn't, collectively, humanity wasn't in this level in 1980. It wasn't, okay? We weren't, apparently humanity wasn't ready for it. We were still watching Real Genius and all those sort of things. So, but, you know, now it's like God is asking us, hey, guess what? You guys are going to start waking up to the nightmare that's been created. And you guys are going to start realizing that you have the power to dream. Now that you're starting to realize this, what do you want to see? What do you actually want to see? What are you actually going to put in here and what's actually going to come out of your mouth? What do you want? I'm listening. Oh, would you shut him off? God bless it. What do you want? I'm listening. God is asking us what we want to see and dream in this world. We have to live that dream. And this is the difference. What I mean, it's not just like we're just sitting around and just dreaming everything. No, you must put it into action too. But it first needs to start with purity here and here. Okay? We all get frustrated. We all have to vent. That's a thing. But we also have to make sure that when in our frustrations and our venting and letting some of this out, that we're not letting demons out doing it. What I'm seeing is that all of these accusatory people and the community and things like that, what you're doing is you are helping the black magicians. That's what you're doing. And that's why I'll always be harsh on it. I don't care if you like me, hate me, make your billion response videos. I don't give two fiddlesticks. Not a poo on a stick, I do. Okay? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want to see in this world? Do you want to see what's on the right there? Or do you want to see what's on the left? What do you want? Hey, guys, down there, what do you want? Your wish is my command. When we do, we are the dream makers, and when we do start redreaming this world and actually living that out and manifesting those things, you know what we need to do? Our faith must be 100%. Our faith must be 100% when we dream our future. Now, if we dream something and then all of a sudden it didn't come true like we had hoped or something like that, do you know why it probably didn't come true as we hoped? Because God was like, no, it's not what you need. That's not what you need. Pedal to the metal when we dream our future and live that and manifest those. No fear. Don't be like, whoa, what are people going to say? Who gives a shiitake shroomsicles? I know, this is terrible, isn't it? People are going to beg me to stop. Like, Marty, just please go back to cursing. I can't listen to you anymore. She posted a list?
No, you need to post it.
Oh, okay, sorry. So a mystical and magical mindset allows us to make conscious what is unconscious. This is what we've been saying for a while. This is what we talked about. We talked about magic. The world itself is magical. It isn't made by quarks and gluons and, you know, all these things fitting together in pieces. No, it's made of God's dream. What's the stuff that God's... How does space-time bend to create gravitational wells? A wicked Jewish dream. Nightmare. That they made into a what? Israel, or they made it into a reality, if you will. The world itself is magical, miraculous, teeming with divine within all things. And they're going to do everything in their power towards you and your children in the future to make sure that you don't understand that. Let's watch this.
He doesn't understand that he's the one who has the power to stop it. He simply can't imagine that one little boy could be that important.
Is it really me? Maybe he doesn't know what he has to do! What do I have to do?
He has to give me a new name. He's already chosen it. He just has to call it out. But it's only a story. It's not real. It's only a story. Atreyu, no! Atreyu! Bastian. Why don't you do what you dream, Bastian? But I can't. I have to keep my feet on the ground.
What is she asking right now? You can do whatever you dream. You don't realize that you have the power. Then what does she say? Speak it. Say my name. That's what she's saying. You can dream your entire reality. You have no idea the power that even a little boy has. And then after that, she's begging him. He's like, I can't. No, she's basically saying you are a magician. You can recreate Fantasia, if you will, but you gotta speak it. See what's happening here?
Call my name. Bastian. Please. Save us. All right. I'll do it. I'll save you. I will do what I dream.
I will save you. I will do what I dream. Okay, so there you go. That's all I want to say. So, and as we said, what is the word that breaks all magic spells? This is, as we talk about, when we get really to the bottom of what this whole book is all about. If you're like, it's just about numbers and astrotheology, it's yes, but what is one of the great messages in here that it seems really to be missed by pretty much everybody? That this world is run by magic. That right there, that's a spell breaker. That's what Christ is. He's a spell breaker. He came and broke the spell of the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the scribes. And we're still dealing with their black magic even today. There's a word, as we talked about, that breaks all magic spells. There's that. Because that guy calls out the very people that are performing black magic right now, that are sweeping with their manifest destiny across the earth. And they're just hoping. They're really, really hoping and working extra hard that you don't wake up and realize that you're a dreamer. And if you're a dreamer, you're a good bird. That's it. That's it. Okay. Thank you all for joining today. I hope you did learn something. Little review. Yeah, as far as I can tell, they absolutely faked the sun in Antarctica. If that turns out to be wrong, great. Well, then we'll just figure out, great. Well, we explored that avenue. Turns out that's not true. Okay, we'll find out what's right. Like, anybody that has any problems with what I'm saying right now, what you're doing is showing that you are the shill. It's that simple. You're showing that you're a toddler, intellectually, spiritually, and we don't care. Okay? So, 24-hour sun in Antarctica? No, I don't believe that there's one there. As of right now, no, I think it's hogwash. And I think that we can absolutely show that the tech is there, the ability to do it is there, that they're already doing this agenda, and they've been doing it for a while, and this would just be one other aspect of it. And now they drew normies, if you will, into it. Us simple little peons down here. They're dragging us into this sort of stuff now and ruining people's lives. And then getting people that are supposed to be, at least as far as I'm concerned, should be like loving and at least caring or at least tolerant of one another to fight one another. Wow. It's almost like we just underwent a massive psychological operation. What's the effect of it? That? Okay. Snap out of it. Snap out of it, guys. It's time. Okay? If you'd like to become a good bird, you can become a good bird at a subscribe star. You can become a phoenix bird, an Aquila bird, a cygnus bird, or you can become the greatest and grandest bird, time of the peak. We do have donations and things like that of course, on the site. And once again, we do have the PMA. If you'd like to support, if you'd like to become a part of the church, that we really appreciate that. Of course, we have donations, Venmo, Buy Me a Coffee, Cash App, Subscribe Star, all the places. And of course, we are, like I said, we're redoing the website. Hopefully, I don't know how long it's going to take, maybe a couple weeks or something like that. I have no idea, but donate tab is on there. That'll remain there. So there's loads of different places, ways that you can support the church. The PMA is just one of those if you want to become a quote-unquote official member of our private membership association. Otherwise, there's loads of ways to support what we do. And we are streaming to YouTube, Rockfin, and Rumble. And, of course, Content Save gets us on BitChute. Thank you, Content Save. We really appreciate you all these years. We really do. And, of course, we have the documentaries available at on Rockfin. And I just posted Project Whistleblower on Rumble as well, Volumes 1 and 2. Hasn't got many views, which is, once again, really crazy, but it is what it is. Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac app. Dave Schillweiss, Flat Earth Rabbi's app. That's right. We're promoting Dave's app. And he secretly pays me, like in shekels and stuff. Or you guys just need to get your head out of your frackin' fudges, Great Scotto, Corn Nuts, G. Willikers sphincter. Good Lord. Get a hold of yourself, guys. You know, it's not helping anything. Church store. Books, rosaries, all the rosaries that my beautiful wife makes, and makes beautiful rosaries that we have, of course, our own Bibles that we have. Boom, you can buy those, or you can just not support us whatsoever. That's totally fine too. It's whatever you want to do. But we want to redream the world, and we want to redream the world with positivity and love and truth, and no more nonsense and calling these black magicians out every other syllable. And that's the world that we're redreaming. Want to redream with us? So, I got to say some thank yous, right? We have thank you. Jennifer? Yes. Oh, it was right there. Oh, thank you to, oh, wow, great. Thank you to B&E for taking over the website. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate B&E over there. Mark Auger, David Bergeron, Stefan Neville, Nils Elbaum, Paul D, Elisa Morales, Jared Poole, thank you so much. Interverse, Roland Peter, thank you. Daniel Hagar, John Vina, best church ever, thank you so much. Alicia Crawford, thank you very much. Angela Morris, thank you so much. Jared Poole, always, every week. Great. Ray Brackman, Let No Man Deceive You, 2 Thessalonians 2:3. Alex Meter, for the best Yurch ever. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Mr. Meter. Every week, you guys. There's some of you guys support every week, and it absolutely keeps us going. So, Eric Colsell, better and better, Marty and Jen. Thank you so much, Mr. Colsell. David the Shill Weiss, Flat Earth Rabbi, has to say donation to the lodge. Look at that. Thanks, Dave. And Undestroyer, happy Sunday. Good points on tech. Yes, sir. Yeah. Let's just say 24-hour sun, absolutely in Antarctica, right? Let's just say we're on a ball. Do you know what's still absolutely alarming and frightening? The tech that they have. Make no mistake about what I'm saying here today. Okay, so still flat. Broken Bear, greatest show on earth. Yes. Liz, the Iron Maiden, Angela Morris, again, thank you so much. Deborah Stiles, 2 coffees a day. So great today. We need to be reminded of all the spells they've been casting for decades. Yeah. We've been in mind spells. It's your job. It's your responsibility to wake up to it. They have been casting for decades, and people need to wake up. And congrats for not saying, "Oh, you almost made me say it, Deborah." Come on. Is this a trick? Are you Duffying me here? Don't be a Jaron Duffy. Anyway, it would be really hard for me to do love you all. Yeah, it is. It's a struggle. Anyway, Small Axe, thanks. Thanks to the very lacking donations we had today. Oh, that was great. Whatever. So we appreciate you all. Thank you so much. I hope you learned something. And if you'd like to, keep us going, please donate, because that's the only way we keep going. And this is the kind of content that we bring. And as far as I know, there's really nobody else out there that's doing this. So kind of a niche thing. So if you'd like to see this niche thing keep going, please support. Okay. Guys, I think I am going to go live at some point this week just for fun, just for shizzles and giggles. and play some guitar and stuff like that, I think. So, and then we'll talk maybe more about some of these things and that sort of stuff. And then hopefully next week we'll get back into the book of John. I just couldn't get my mind around that today because I just had too many other things on my mind. So, anyway, guys, may you always keep yourselves in the love of God, looking for the mercy of our Lord, Jesus Christ. On to eternal life. May His grace be with you all. Amen. Okay, we're going to listen to some more Brian Jones on Massacre because that's just what we do. This is called Nothing Can Stop the Sound, and it annoys my wife, but it's such a rockin' song. So, guys, hopefully we'll see you sometime this week. And if you'd like, once again, Telegram chat, wonderful group of people in there. Hilarious, by the way, too. Funniest chat I've been in. So, and that's it. Okay, guys, hopefully we'll see you sometime this week. All right, we really appreciate you. Hope you learned something today. And that's it. All right. As always, many blessings and much love to all.